Welcome to day 6 of Neo-Pagan November. Today's prompt is the word darkness. This is a challenge to create a video every day of the month of November with a new prompt. And this challenge was created by Brittany, the Sunshine State Witch, here on YouTube, so you can always check her out. I guess like every prompt I kind of feel stumped at first, and I guess that's just the way it is. But I guess I'll just talk about, like, I'll let the energy of what I have to say about darkness just flow out, and I'll just talk about what comes to my mind when I think about darkness. So when I think about darkness, I think about creating magic. I think about how when I do spells, I usually do them at night when it's dark out, and the darkness amplifies the energy of the flame of the candle and makes things feel more magical and more dark and deep. And sorry, my eye keeps watering. When I think about the darkness, I think about shadows. I think about the opposite of light. I think about duality, the yin and the yang, the black and the white. I think about how darkness is what keeps the balance between dark and light, and how darkness is so necessary for growth and development and rest. Even like when I think about darkness, I think about the darker half of the year, where here in the Northern Hemisphere we experience winter and the days get darker earlier, and we just turned our clocks back. So we're gonna be experience darkness earlier in the day, and the days are shorter. And I think about the moon in the sky, and how without the darkness we wouldn't have the moon, and how the moon represents feminine energy, and how without, like, in the moon represents feminine energy and the sun represents masculine energy. And again, coming back to the energy of balance and how both are necessary for balance. And I think about how without the light we wouldn't be able to see the shadows, and without the light there would be no shadows, and the shadows are the darkness. Like, right, like when you see a shadow, it's because the light is casting that shadow onto something, because there's an opposition of darkness there. And I think about how when we plant a seed, we plant it in the soil in the dark, and without that darkness the seed wouldn't be able to germinate and grow. I also think about the womb, and how babies are formed in the womb in the darkness. And I think about when we go through dark moments in our lives, when we go through the dark night of the soul, and how the dark night of the soul is very challenging, yes, but it also brings sometimes the most character growth and development that we could ever experience, that maybe without that darkness and that dark night of the soul we wouldn't be able to become the people that we are today and to really develop. I think about how the darkness can be scary, and because we can't see things fully for what they are. We only see shadows and shapes. We don't really see things clearly in the darkness. But I think about the stars and the moon, like I said, and how without the darkness we wouldn't see the stars in the sky. Like, in the day you don't see stars in the sky, but when it's black out you can see all the stars shining in the galaxy. And without that darkness we wouldn't be able to see that beauty. And the northern lights, and how without the darkness we wouldn't be able to have that array of northern lights falling through the sky like rainbows. I just think that the dark is a very necessary quality in life, and how it's necessary for balance and growth. And in the darker half of the year, and some places they experience darks for months on end, and we learn to use that darkness in a therapeutic way sometimes, like where we use the time to rest and develop. And even though things seem like they're dead in the winter moments, in the winter seasons, how there's actually a lot taking place under the soil in the dark, and how when the light comes again, everything comes back to life. And the darkness gave all that nature time to rest and time to just regenerate. I think about how we sleep, like we generally sleep at night when it's dark, and how our body creates the melatonin that we need to recuperate, to rest, and how in the darkness we do better, we recuperate better when we sleep in the dark. And our body needs time to rejuvenate during that darkness, that dark period. So I think darkness is really important. As much as I like to talk about the light, I think the darkness is something that we don't always want to look at. But I think about how when I was a teenager and I had a lot of acne, I used to love the nighttime. I used to love the darkness because nobody could see my acne. And I think about vampires. I think about how the vampires live in the night during the dark and how they wander around in the darkness. And I think about how I used to connect with the vampires and feel like I used to love the darkness, and I didn't want to see the daylight. So the darkness is very romantic as well. I think about how, like like I said at the very beginning of this video, like when you light a candle in the darkness, there's so much more magic with that candle burning. And I think about romance. I think about how when a couple goes out for supper to a restaurant and it's dark and there's a candle lit on the table, it's romantic. How darkness creates that ambiance, and yeah, so I guess that's all I have to say about darkness for today, but I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, have a good day.